Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Welcome to the She Lounge, the virtual She Lounge, the space where the conversations take place. My name is Joyce Dawkins, and I am the founder of She Rocks It, the creator of the She Rocks It magazine, and the creator of the Facebook group I Am She. If you followed us over this last year during the pandemic, a lot of our in person events were postponed due to the pandemic. However, I sought other opportunities for me to create amazing platforms where women can come together, network, share, and be able to share their story. So I was blessed to create this space virtually where I can invite women into the She Lounge and we can have some intimate, intentional, and purposeful conversations. These conversations are truly designed to empower, inspire, motivate, and encourage who's ever tuning in to watch us. During the month of September, our Facebook group, I Am She, we embarked on something for 30 days, and it was 30 days of affirmations. So within the group, I posted a daily statement, and then I asked the women when they saw the statement to affirm, I am she. Right. The purpose of that was to allow them to intentionally set aside a time for themselves each day and pour into themselves by encouraging themselves by affirming, I am she. I also came across this amazing book while on social media. And the book was called Set Boundaries and Find Peace. And it was a guide to reclaiming yourself. And the light bulb immediately went off. Because you talk about boundaries, you've heard the word, you may not even know what the word is, right? When you talk about boundaries, what comes to mind? A border, something that blocks something from happening. But within our lives, there are borders that we do not allow to come into our lives. We don't put up borders, right? We don't have any protection from the things that we allow to take place or maybe even happen in our lives. So I shared with the women in the group this book, and I encouraged them to go out and get the book and begin to think about their lives and think about some of the things that are going on that may require them to set boundaries intentionally. Okay, so I want to take an excerpt from this book. And again, it is Set Boundaries, Find Peace, a guide to reclaiming yourself by Nidra Twab. So she lists in the book, these are some signs that you may need to set boundaries. You feel overwhelmed. You feel resentment toward people for asking for your help. You avoid phone calls and interactions with people you think might ask you for something. You make comments about helping other people and getting nothing in return. You feel burned out. You frequently daydream about dropping everything and disappearing. And this last one, you have no time for yourself. Okay. So in the book, she says that those are some signs that you need to set boundaries. Okay. So as I began to think about what I've experienced and what I've gone through in the last year, pandemic, death, just so many different things and so many things that I've had on my plate personally, I began to realize that I was a person that said yes often, right? My yes had, it was available to anyone who probably asked something of me, right? I did not have no as part of my vocabulary and I didn't own my time. Okay. So as I began to think, I'm going to start saying no, and my no is going to be non negotiable, meaning if I say no, it's no. Okay. You can't come back to say, well, maybe can you do it tomorrow? Can you do it next week? The no is no. So again, that began me to think about boundaries. And I realized that I'm not the only person that needs to reclaim my peace, need to reclaim my time and set some boundaries in my life. So I reached out to the women in the social media group I am she. And I said, is there anyone out there who have, struggled with boundaries, who have set boundaries intentionally so that they can reclaim their peace, reclaim their time? And my guest that you see joining me on screen, Keisha Roberts Tabb, um, an amazing woman. I'm glad to say that she was a 2019 She Rocks It honoree.
Mhm.
She has an amazing bio, which I'm just going to share some of these bullet points with you to show you some of the work that she's done. So she is a community psychologist, founder of Girl Night Out, owner and CEO of the RTA Group and LLC, and human trafficking gender responsive LGBTQ specialist for Cook County Juvenile Court. Her published work includes Girl Empowerment, Theory into Action, a bulletin of new development in community psychology, Girls in the City, status report on teen girls residing in Chicago, Grace, a letter of reflection to the little girl or young woman they once were. Whose little girl am I? Whose little girl discussion guide and journal? And whose little girl too? Anyone with money to buy. Empowering adolescent girls to prevent sexual exploitation, a form of human trafficking. I'm Loving Me Project. Missing and Black Women of Color, the Forgotten Victims. She Rocks It magazine contributor. And Whose Little Girl Too? Self Exploration Journal. Um, Thank you so much, Dr. Tab, for joining us. I appreciate you being here in the She Lounge. Um, I appreciate you stepping up saying, you know what, I want to talk about boundaries. I've struggled with setting them, but I've learned to set them. So we're just really going to dive deep into this conversation. And hopefully, those that are joining us, those that will join us, will really have a moment of self reflection, right? Really have a moment to think about the conversation that we are about to have and, think to themselves that, you know what, maybe I need to begin, to set boundaries because I've lost my personal time. I've lost a little bit of who I am because I'm a cater and I'm a waiter to others and I don't even see myself on the menu, right? So please begin by just telling us your story as it relates to why did you decide or what was it that required you to begin to think about setting boundaries in your personal and professional life?
So one of the things that really resonated when you talked about the bullet points in the book, I think for me, the need for boundaries showed up when I was very upset, when I would say yes. And not just upset with myself, but I was upset with the person asking. And so for me, that became a struggle because most of the acts were, people that I cared about. The acts came from the work that I love to do so much. And so it started to become this thing where I didn't even enjoy doing anymore. Like it was this thing where I had to, like I would do it and I would be so mad about it. And I'm strong in the word. I'm strong in the word. And I know that is against everything that we are taught, that you don't do anything with a begrudging heart, that you do things in love and all that you do it in love. And so that I had lost that because I had become pieces of me was being placed around everywhere in my ministry, with the girls at work, with my family, with my in-laws, with my friends. Like it just had become all my daughter's friends had started pulling on me, and it just became to the point that again, like she said, I was sitting here, I had to laugh when it said, you don't want to answer the phone. The actual moment for me is when my phone broke and I did not rush to get a new phone. And I went 4 days before I even called to say that I needed a new phone. And for me, after that first day, it was so peaceful that I thought to myself, I could do this. And so it just, and I thought to myself, that's crazy that you don't have the courage or the ability to say no. You'd rather just fall off the face of the planet than say no.
That is such an amazing point, right? Because a lot of times, we walk around and this right here is always in the palm of our hand. right?
Mm-hmm.
We get lost. We like, oh my God, where's my phone? But that what you just stated, the moment your phone broke and you didn't run to go get it fixed because it was something about that moment, right? You didn't have to look at the phone to avoid who was calling, to avoid, saying yes, which you always tend to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? We get so caught up in being that person that others need us to be or others expect us to be that we really forget about who we are and what our needs are. Okay. And not having those boundaries allows people to come in and out, because there's no blocker, right? There's no border, there's nothing protecting us other than um, we have to just get that courage to begin to exercise our no. That is personally and that's professionally. I've talked to women posted in the social media group that, a couple of them have left jobs recently. Okay. They decided that, the level of stress, the level of their giving, it was a constant give, give, give. But on a personal level, there was no boundaries even in the workplace, right? And so it is really important that we begin to define what boundaries are. Okay. And so I'm just going to read this definition that I pulled up just online, just Googled
I just
boundaries.
did the
And
same
it's,
thing.
you
I just
did.
did the same thing.
Because you know what, it is so important to have that. You know, I can say what is, but let me just share what is being said about personal boundaries. So, personal boundaries, or the act of setting boundaries, is a life skill. They're saying that it's a life skill that has been popularized by self help authors and support groups since the mid 1980s, right? It is the practice of openly communicating and asserting personal values as a ways to preserve and protect against having them compromised or violated. The term boundary is a metaphor. Within bounds means acceptable, and out of bounds means unacceptable. Okay. Without values and boundaries, our identities become diffused and often controlled by the definition offered by others. That is deep. Okay. That right there is powerful
Mm-hmm.
because we don't even look at it that way.
No.
Okay. We don't look at, okay, so they asked me and they continue to ask me, you can be so good at a thing, right? Everybody knows that you're good at that thing. So it becomes, oh, can you do this for me real quick? Can you do this? But there is no, you know, can I pay you for your time? Or,
Right.
can I, and you shared something with me before we came on live, um, something interesting. So what did you say you had to do um, in terms of people asking, you gave them in return? What were you sending them?
I was asking them for their email address so that I can give them an invoice. So if Dr. Kisha Roberts Tab is a business. I'm a coach. I'm a counselor. I have a ministry. I publish books. I help. So all of these things that you're asking me to do, I see now that there's value to it. And I also share with you that I didn't really see that value until one day I got upset about someone constantly asking me to do something. And my husband said, why would they pay you when you've been doing it for free so long? And for me, that was like, whoa, and my husband is not like, he's not, one of those people that's, like shouting from, but when he speaks, he speak. And so that was a word for me. And so it started to make sense to me why people were asking me, why they were coming to me, because they can save their money. Because if they went and asked another coach to do what they were asking me to do, they would have to pay. And so I felt like my time, I paid a lot for my degree. My degree, all my certifications, all of those things cost me a lot of money, time, and effort. And
Absolutely.
so I felt that I deserved the same payment that you would pay someone else. But oftentimes people, if they know you, they sister girl you. That's what I call it, the sister girl you.
Yes.
So they sister girl you, and hey boo, can you just help? No, I cannot. But if you need this done, I can send you an invoice. And if not, I can refer you to someone that can do it. And I also had to learn boundaries for myself, knowing that everything is not within my wheelhouse.
Yes.
That was a boundary. So yes, we have to set boundaries for others, but we also have to create boundaries for ourselves. Because when we are people pleasers, we think we can do everything. And most
Absolutely.
times, and if you do it and you do it well, you're like, oh, I got this, I can do, but that ain't what you do. This is what you do. And I don't want to be a jack of all trades. I want to master what I'm supposed to master. And so for me, the boundaries was within as well. Like just for me, giving myself a hard no, and it wasn't negotiable. This not within my wheelhouse, but I can refer you to someone else.
Absolutely. And the point that you brought up about the self, because we do have to set those boundaries within ourselves, because otherwise we will begin to act out the way others perceive us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if they perceive that, you know what, I can call her, she's going to do it, she's going to do it, you will think that you're the jack of all trades, right? You
And
will think that you
you'll
can do,
become that too.
you will become that, right? You will wear that superwoman cape and think you can fly. And with the reality of it is that you're doing more harm to yourself than good. Okay. Because again, we are not getting that personal time for ourselves. We're running so that we don't even have that time set aside for that 15 or 20 minutes within the day. Because you know what? We've allowed individuals to take up every minute of the day that we have. We have no boundaries. And so that word is like my word for the year. I'm operating in my no. I'm standing on my no, and it's non-negotiable, because you know what? I need to reclaim my peace. I need to reclaim my time, and I really need to reconsider what I'm saying yes to. You
Yeah.
know, what is the benefit of my yes? Is that going to help you make a profit and I'm not getting anything from it because I'm giving away my things for free? You know, and so it is, again, it's critical that you know my platform is about women, so I always say, for women, because we do wear so many hats, you have to set boundaries with your kids, with your
Mm-hmm.
spouse, just so that you can get to that level of peace. So um when you began to set boundaries within, for yourself personally, um did you get any type of feedback from others? Like, was it that, what? What? You said what? No. What was that comeback from those who you began to set those boundaries with?
So it really was a because I had lacked boundaries for so long, they didn't take me serious. So it was
Oh,
a like I say no, and then I get another call 5 minutes later. It was the negotiation. It was are you sure you can't do it? Well, can you show me how to do it? Well, if I'm showing you how to do it, I'm doing it. That type of thing. But one of the things I did want to go back to, not only how they responded, but I had to check my motives. So that's my word.
mm,
That's my word for this year. Motives. Why am I saying yes? Am I saying yes because I don't want you mad at me? Am I saying yes because
mm.
I feel like you need me? Am I saying yes because I have a need to be needed? Like I had to really examine those motives around my yes. And when I start
Oh my
examining those
God.
motives around my yes, my no for certain people became a very hard no, because it was not just about a no to them, it was also about a no to me. Like, I don't need your validation. I don't need your acceptance. I don't even care if you like me at this point. So that was especially professionally. And so those was the things that I had to come into alignment with, that what God has for me is for me. And that includes relationships. So even those people who was meeting me with that resistance because I set those boundaries, sometimes that may not be a relationship that is something I want to pursue right now. That does not mean that and this goes for A1 sisters, everybody. I may have to take a step back from this relationship right now because my no is my no, and my yes was not a genuine yes.
Oh, oh my God. That the yes was not a genuine yes. So you even second guessed your yeses.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Okay.
because I had to check why am I saying yes? I'm mad about saying yes. Now I'm walking around here doing stuff. I'm slamming stuff down, but I said yes. That's not
But
a
you said
genuine
yes.
yes. That's not a genuine yes. A genuine yes is done with if you happy about doing it, when you say yes for some things that resonate in your heart and your soul, that like that connection that says organically, that organic yes, that
Yep,
organic
organic,
yes
yes.
is the yes that you love to do. When I'm mad about doing it, my yes wasn't genuine, and that's where motives come in. Well, why would you do it?
Absolutely. And so I'm going to read another part from this book, just along the question that I just asked you. So it says, you can't change people, but you can change, and I'm going to read these bullet points, how you deal with them. Okay. What you accept, you can change how you react to them, how often you interact with them, how much space you allow them to take up.
Mm-hmm.
You can change what you participate in, what role they play in your life, what people you have contact with, and who you allow in your life, and you can change your perspective. That right there. Okay, we have so much power over ourselves, but the problem is we don't know that we have that power, right?
And
We
sometimes
don't
we're afraid
operate.
of the power. Sometimes we're
Yeah,
afraid of what that power looks like. What is that? What? How are other people going to perceive our power? That's what we have to get away, especially Black women. We got to get away from the lens that other people see us through.
the
We got to
lens of
start
other
looking in
people.
the mirror.
Absolutely. And oh my God, that's huge. All these points are huge, but that is huge because we do, as women, we tend to people please, right? And that people please looks like, oh yeah, I will. Yes, I can. Sure, I will. What time? How much do you want? How much do you need? How long do you want me to write it? What time do you want me to pick you up? What time do you want me to drop you off? There are no boundaries. We are losing at this particular battle when it comes to boundaries. And I think this pandemic has really shown us how important boundaries are, right? Because this pandemic time, it made us pause, it made us stop, it made us reflect, it made us spend more time with individuals. And that could have been a light bulb in itself to say, you know what, I really need to set boundaries because I'm losing everything from my mind, my time, my peace, my joy, because I have not set those boundaries. So I know I had asked you prior to coming on, for us within the group in September, we began to talk about, focusing on setting boundaries, affirming, and finding peace. Had you thought about that prior to September? And I think you shared with me that you recently just
Mm-hmm.
started setting those boundaries. Now, did you write that out? What did that look like for you? What was your game plan for beginning to set boundaries in your life, if you had a plan?
So I didn't have a plan. Organically, the plan happened through the last book. So when I was writing the self exploration journal, that journal deals with self exploration, discovery, and then declaration. And so for me, those particular points. So in that self exploration, that's when I really started to examine, like I said, my motives. I had to really deal with, why won't I set boundaries? Why am I so available? Why do I think it's not okay to say no? I say, and I also, in discovering, do at that discovery point, and this was literally through the writing process. I tell anybody, if you can't afford therapy, just start writing. You will take yourself through a therapeutic program for free. So when I got to the discovery portion of that self-exploration journal, and I started to write these questions out, I did start to discover that within me, that I was saying no to myself by saying yes to other people.
Wow.
So from discovering that I was making myself unhappy, sometimes even physically sick, that and the pandemic didn't help, because I started to realize I really like being with me. Like I thought she was kind of dope during that time when it was just
Right.
me. And so that kind of helped too. Like, I'm gonna say no because I like this chick, and you change her. I go from Kisha to Keisha real quick when I don't
Real.
want to do something. And so I kind of realized that the need for boundaries, not just to even to preserve some relationships that that was starting to being affected by my yes. And so going into that declaration, ending up finishing that journal, I started to make some declarations. And so I've been doing affirmations like I shared with you earlier. I come from a very Afrocentric upbringing, and so my dad had us doing affirmations when it wasn't popular. My dad was writing things out. He'll notice a spirit on us or notice something that did not resonate with who he thought we should be, and we would get up and it would be a sticker on the bathroom. So we've been doing, me and my siblings have been practicing this affirmation thing for a long time. But one of the things my father would always say in goal setting and affirmations is, what's the action behind it? And so for me, that declaration was my action. My no is my no. I'm not doing anything that, and my declaration was, I'm not doing anything that threatens my peace.
Ooh.
And so that was the journey that I took. And it just so happened that it went into that whole process of September. And, I started doing the affirmations, and I just have to share that. I love that. I loved going through that. Like, this is my birthday. This is my day. Like, I love that. And then even things that you did not think resonated with you, when you start to really think about it. So that's why you have to do things intentional.
Yes.
You can't
That's my
just do
word.
things. You can't just do things because you see it online. Oh, I want my name on a comment. I want somebody to see I commented. You got to do things intentional, because God don't make mistakes. You see those things that you're supposed to reply to because that's what you need for that time. And so one of the things that I never really thought that I dealt with was a fear. I never thought that I was afraid. I'm from Ida B. Wells. I'm that chick. Like I fought. Like, I ain't scared of nobody. Like, that was me. Like, I ain't scared of you. I ain't scared of nobody. However, that day that you put that I am, that month and day, mine came up with fear, releasing fear. And so for me, because I am an intentional person, it took me a while before I am anything, because I had to resonate with, are you fearful? Because one thing about me, I got to be genuine. I fake and phony don't work with me. So when I first read that, I'm going to be honest with you, I ain't scared of nothing. But then when I thought about the idea of boundaries, I must be scared of something, because I keep saying yes to stuff that I think I should say no to. I keep allowing myself to do things that make me uncomfortable. I keep sacrificing my peace for other people. So what am I afraid of? I'm afraid of not being liked. I'm afraid of saying no to people and threatening their relationship. And so I just wanted you to know that exercise may have just looked like an exercise, but for me, when you intentionally go into something and you really think about it, that really was life-changing for me. Because, there are some things that I fear. I say stuff because I fear having an argument with my husband. I say yes to people that I don't want to say yes to, but if I say no, he gonna look at me crazy. All of those things are rooted in fear.
Oh my goodness. And oh my God. So for those that may be wondering what she's referencing, so within the I Am She group, that is clearly a space for women to come together, network, be inspired, be empowered, and support one another. So I try to do things to keep us engaged, to keep us, come into a place each day where we can be renewed, refreshed, and, just get some positive energy. So I put this post out where it says, choose your birth month, and you begin with the affirmation, but it would give the affirmation based on a few of the things that you selected. So, I am letting go of, fear, and I embrace peace and happiness. Okay. So that's just an example. So I really put that out there intentionally, because I really wanted people to, if you notice in the I Am She group, it's really not to just come on there and just, just talk, to chat. Really, you know what? You come get what you need, right? You come and you see this daily affirmation that is being posted out there. And when I talk about affirmations and affirming I am she, I'm not saying I am she that, the group I am she. No, I'm saying you are pouring into yourself. You're empowering, you're speaking this positivity into your life, and you are affirming that, I am this, I am a game changer. I am a goal getter, right? But not just speaking it, but believing it, because affirmations is a mindset, right? You have to believe that the affirmations you make, that you are going to adopt that into your life, and it will be life changing. And so for you to say that that post was that aha moment for you, for me as the person, the creator of that group, you know what, for me it's like I've done my job, right? I'm creating that space, I'm putting this content out there intentionally, and that if there's 3 4,000 people in the group, if one person says this was life changing, then you know what, my goal, my mission has been accomplished. So I
It's
appreciate you
accomplished
sharing
because
that.
you definitely did. You definitely did. Like the whole thing. Like even one of the things, one of the affirmations you put up, and we affirmed. I actually took a picture of it, because I felt like maybe I need to. I feel like this resonates with me, but I need to declare it so that it is so. I need to speak those things. And although I think they may be right now, I'm so new to this boundary, it may not be. So let me speak this thing. And I can show you, I literally took a picture of that affirmation, and it said, um, she is releasing everything that is no longer a benefit in her life. She is reclaiming all the time wasted on things that got her nowhere. She is living her best life. No permission required, no explanation needed. So for me, that and I took that was even before I even did the exercise. But just in that was me combating that fear that I didn't even know lived in me.
Wow. And it's amazing how, when we begin to self reflect, we begin to do these self help exercises that you don't even realize what's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's revelations in things when you are intentional, right? About, doing things for yourself. Those, I mean, for me, it was again, when I think about boundaries, I'm like, I'm really too available. And my sister told me best. My sister said, why are you so accessible? And I'm like, accessible, like what you need, because I was one, oh yeah, this is my number, here you go. And then you have that freedom of the text, of the messages. Can you, will you, won't you, you know, and it's like, oh yeah, oh yeah. And I'm scrambling trying to look at a calendar to see what else I can add to the calendar,
Mm-hmm.
when some of the things I really basically should have just said, no, I
No.
don't have the time. Because if I'm trying to find time, then I really don't have that time.
Mm-hmm.
So again, talking about those boundaries and talking about those, affirmations, I think that they are powerful. And I think that, if you incorporate affirmations and you speak that to yourself each day, you will begin to see a change. You will begin to see, why setting boundaries intentionally are so life changing. So that is so amazing. And so when we talk about peace,
Mm-hmm.
right, that the peace, um, I am on this journey to, uh, reclaiming peace, right? Not that it's just like so lost, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not where I need it to be, because it's just constant, go, constant do. Um, and the pandemic for me was that reclaiming moment, right? So much. I mean, I jumped from jump, did this and this, from death to death to death, okay, to managing now, the family finances after my dad's, passing, to doing this, doing that, that for the first time, I think in almost 2 years, I just recently took a trip. And for me, it was a girls' trip. It was an amazing girls' trip, but it also was that moment of release for me, because I had not had any time to begin to reclaim my peace, right? So a lot of times I sat in silence. A lot of times I may have just like drifted off, because you know what? I was really reflecting on, this is what peace feels like, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kicking it with a bunch of girls, but I'm feeling this thing of all that I had weighted on my shoulders, in the past, all the boundaries that have been broken, right? I'm finally at a place for 5 days where I don't even know what to do with myself, right? But it really was important, and it was intentional. The trip for me was intentional, because I needed that time to begin to reclaim my peace of mind, right? And all of the boundaries, again, that I had not even began to build up because I was trying to build them up. But again, the fear kicked in and those boundaries and those walls fell down. And so, um, you have some amazing books. And the last book you talked about, the one where you just mentioned, and let me go back. Which one was that?
The self
Um,
exploration journal.
yes, where is that? The self exploration journal, because those three key points that you just talked about are key. And I'm going to put that in the group because I really think, to your point, writing it out will reveal your truths,
Mm-hmm.
right? But also, when you have a journal and you have a prepared journal, it's a guide
Yeah.
to help you get there. Okay. So, share a little bit about that particular journal and what led you to creating that.
So it's like I said, it's a 21-day journal because I'm a firm believer that it takes 21 days to create a habit. And so when we think of habits, we automatically think of something negative. But habit forming can be very positive. We can form some very positive habits. And when we do form those habits, they're never usually about us. When we,
Mm,
especially I'm going to make it a habit to be on time. I'm going to make it a habit to do, but you're being on time for another so I really wanted to create something that really spoke to us creating and forming habits that are healthy for our well-being, our holistic well-being. And those habits not to be and I'm not saying it's I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a advocate. I understand the need to give.
right,
However, I also know that if I have nothing to, if I don't have anything left within me, I don't have anything to give anybody. And so that is the premise around that journal. And I use the second book because the second book, Whose Little Girl Am I? Anyone with Money to Buy, really dealt with my work. And I feel like that my work is hard work. It's work, it's heart work, not hard work, but it's
right,
heart
but
work.
heart
It's
work,
human work. And so that book is about six girls who are involved in exploitation and how they got involved in exploitation. But it also deals with the woman that is assigned to help them.
ooh,
Ding ding. And so it talks about how she was driven to that work.
mm,
Because when we think about, especially with exploitation, oh, I ain't never been exploited. I ain't never told mama, ain't no, but we find ourselves being exploited specifically if we don't have boundaries. We
wow,
find ourselves being exploited in every relationship, whether it's your parental relationship with your parents, your siblings, your spouses, your children, your friendships. Some of those relationships become exploited when you don't set clear boundaries. And so in writing that, again, I started to discover some things about why I do this work. Like, why was I drawn to girls who are being sexually exploited? And so through that, I started to ask myself some questions, and that's kind of how the journal came to light. Somebody said you should do some affirmation cards, and I'm one of those people. Why reinvent the wheel? If you got affirmation cards, buy hers. I don't need to have what you have. I'd rather drive those sales to you. Let me do something that's not. I'm always looking for the
right,
missing parable. And so when I started to write out what I wanted that journal to look like, and I started to ask those questions, I realized that we can't really get to the declaration, or that we can't affirm anything until we figure out why. So
wow,
I had to examine the why. So that's how the self-exploration journal came to be. Examine the why. Why am I doing this? Exploring my why, discovering the behavior attached to that why, and then declaring that I'm ready to make some changes around that.
yeah. And that declaration, when you get there, when you go through those other levels and you get to that declaration, that right there is that red flag. It's like, you know
You
what?
mean
I
business.
surrender.
You mean
I'm
business
ready.
when you get there.
Exactly. Okay. And so that's amazing. I'm looking forward to getting that because um, we, again, as women, our plates are just running over. You know, it's like we're just study trying to pile things up there, thinking everything is going to fit. And then as things begin to drop off, things begin to fall, we lose ourselves thinking that we're out, we can't handle it, right? It's out of control. But it's like self-sabotage. It's like we have done that to ourselves because we have not learned how to set intentional boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have not learned how to um, begin to shift our mindset, really, and then to affirm to ourselves what we desire and what we, want for our, our lives. And so having this space, She Rocks It, the I Am She group, the magazine, each one of them in its own are ways for women to, again, connect and reflect and just be empowered and be inspired. And I'm always intentional about the She Lounge virtual experiences. I'm always intentional about the posts that I make because the things that I have gone through in terms, and they're not like bad things, but they were like some good positive things. But this is a space where I can share that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also can share the downfalls in the areas of my life that I know need help. And I knew that boundaries was one of those areas that I really had no control over. You know, I didn't even understand what they were. I was like, okay, I draw the line, you cut off, but why were they cut off, right? Am I, for what reason? Or why am I so afraid to stand on my no?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like you say, is it people pleasing, right? Um, am I afraid of what somebody's gonna say? But when you stand firm in who you are and your beliefs, right,
Mm-hmm.
they can't do anything but respect that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can't respect that, then that's just evident to you that, you know what, it's okay. Everybody is not made for your journey,
It's not a
you
healthy
know?
relationship. It's not a healthy relationship. And I don't know about you, Joyce, but right now, at my age, I'm looking for journey women. I'm looking for people to journey with me through my next level of success. I'm looking for women that can journey with me through my next level of accountability. I'm not
Yes,
looking, and so if I'm not looking for nobody to please me, I'm not looking for no yes women. I got too much work to do for somebody to be like, yeah, girl, you. I'm good on that. I know I'm good on that. What I need is somebody to pull my collar and be like, girl, you acting a fool out in these streets. Like, get
right.
your
Come
get your
back,
man
bring it
right.
back.
Get your man right. Like, I need that. I need that in my life right now. And so for me, in order to get those real people in my life that God has ordained to journey with me through my next level, I gotta have boundaries. Because if I leave the door open, everybody is gonna come in, and everybody is not meant to take that journey with me.
No,
Where I'm
they're not.
going is really not enough room for everybody that may think they want to go. And what I don't want to get is get halfway through the journey and realize you weren't supposed to be here. And now I'm starting over because you didn't sabotage a blessing that God had for me, or you didn't bought some things out of me that don't resonate with where He trying to take me. I don't have time for that. I
Absolutely.
don't got time for that.
Absolutely. And
Time is
that is
limited.
so key because we will, again on this journey, right? And when I talk about journey, I've posted things about being on this journey, like you're driving and you see that rear view mirror, right? And you see the stop sign, you see the yield, you see the go sign, right? And for me, I take that internally, meaning on this journey, I know that everyone cannot go with me on this journey, right? So along the way, there is a yield sign where I need to maybe hold up. Let me reevaluate my passengers, right? Let me reevaluate who's on this journey. What is their motive? Okay. And why are they on this journey with
That
me, right?
part.
What are
That
they
part.
contributing? Right there, that part.
Mhm.
Okay. Then I get to that stop sign and it's like I have to open the door because some people have to get out. This is as far as they can go on that journey, right? But then I'm like, God, I need the green light folks. I need those folks who can go with me on this journey, but intentionally, purposefully pouring into me and not just withdrawing. Like you can continue to dip out, but you're not pouring back in, right? And that all comes with setting those intentional boundaries. And so, as women, those are some things that those that are watching, those that will listen to this broadcast later, begin to, as we talked about earlier, write it out. Begin to do like this, do two columns, yes, no. What have you said yes to in the last 30 days, right? What have you said no to? If those yeses outweigh those no's, you may need to reevaluate some things in your life,
So
right?
one of the things that I do with coaching clients is that the column, I'm all about, like looking at it. But one of the things I have attached to it with your yes, was your yes a threat or an opportunity?
Oh.
Was your no a yes? Was your no a threat or an opportunity? And in all of those things, did you say yes based on a strength or a weakness? Was your no based on a strength or a weakness? And so sometimes we got to do some personal SWATs in our life, right? We got to start. So the same way that when you start a business, you're doing that SWAT, right? You're looking at the strengths, you're looking at the weaknesses, the opportunities, we're looking at the threats. We don't do that in our own life. Now, so that's key. Is to start recognizing some of our strengths, recognizing some of our weaknesses, and examining our no and yes. Was that yes an opportunity or a threat?
Wow.
Was that no an opportunity or a threat? And how is that resonating in our behavior? Because when we do things begrudgingly, it shows in our behavior. It's all over us.
It's all over.
The energy, your energy is off. It's all over us. And so I don't want to live like that. I don't know about you, but I don't want to live like that.
No.
And I don't want to continue to hear that that's how we are as Black women. You got to be strong. You got to be this. That's not true. We didn't prove our strength over 400 years. We good on the strength part. Everybody know we strong. We good. That is already established. We are some strong women. But are we good to ourselves?
Wow.
Can we look at ourselves and say, I've been good to that girl in that mirror? That's what I want to be. I want to be able to look at her and say, I've been good to her.
I've been good to her, right? Like I set those boundaries intentionally to allow her to have that quality time for herself, right? Mm-hmm. I've been good to her. You know what? I began to make daily affirmations in my life to reset my mindset, right? I began to reclaim my peace, reclaim my time, and take back those things that were intentionally taken away from me, right? And so when we began to identify that, you'll see a shift, right? You'll see a shift in our behavior. Some people may perceive that as, oh, she changed.
Okay.
Right?
I say I evolved. You can call it change.
Right?
I've evolved.
I've evolved, right? and again, it is really writing out. And then I'm telling you, when you begin to write, you do begin to reflect, because it forces you to reflect, because you're basically self-evaluating. You know, you're writing this stuff out, and then it's like an aha, like, oh my God, I did that. Ooh, okay. Mm-hmm. I said yes to that, but I don't even do that, right? I said, sure, I'll go. I don't even like that. Okay. And then we realized that it was never about us, it's about them. And so really just this whole entire conversation, again, that word intentional, you know, because someone that hears the conversation that we've had here in the She Lounge, my hope is that they will begin to journal some things out and begin to self-reflect and begin to see where they may need to, you know, start setting boundaries and own the no. Okay, own the no. And your no is non-negotiable. Your no does not require an explanation, and you don't require permission to use no. Okay, it's all about self, that self-help, that self-growth, that self-love, right?
And
love yourself enough.
Get that why. Ask yourself why you say yes. If you thinking about saying yes, sometimes you got to ask yourself, why am I saying yes? Because we don't check the why. And if we thought about, why am I saying yes, you'll probably be like, yeah, I ain't with that. It's a no for me.
And to that why point, make 3 columns. Yes, no, why. Why? Okay, make 3 columns. Okay, what are you saying yes to? Okay, and then why? Answer your own why. Okay, you said no. Don't say no out of anger, right? Don't say no, you know, because they didn't do it for you, so you're gonna say no. You're not. No, let that no be intentional and on purpose, right? Yep. At the same time, let that yes be intentional and on purpose, and know your why, because that is key. So, thank you so much for joining me here in the She Lounge as we talk about setting boundaries, as we talk about finding and reclaiming our peace, and as we talked about those daily affirmations. I want to encourage everyone, go out, look up Dr. Tab, find a couple of her books, order them, and I'm telling you, you will be blessed by the content that she has. She has a wealth of knowledge. and it is shown in the books and publications that she has. Continue to follow She Rocks It as we continue to try to create this platform and this space where women can come together, network, talk, encourage, and empower one another, and have intentional conversations right here in the virtual She Lounge. Sister, I'm so glad you joined me
Mhm.
today. And I just want to give a shout out because you're on a girls' trip and you took this time out to join us right here in the She Lounge. And I'm not going to hold you much longer so that you can go and spend that good, fun time with your girls. Everyone that has joined us tonight, thank you so much for supporting She Rocks It. Continue to follow us on all social media platforms. We do have a YouTube channel if you want to go back and revisit this. And, if you came in maybe at the middle or the end, check us out on YouTube and, again, watch it from beginning to end. We hope that it was inspiring, empowering, and we hope that you'll begin to leave here and write those 3 columns out: yes, no, and why. And when you do, email me and let me know how that worked out for you. So I'm looking forward to hear it. Dr. Tab, enjoy your trip. And when you return home, we're going to hook up.
Yes.
All right. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for
Good
having
night.
me.
Absolutely. Good night.